everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Philip Toledo, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. We're so glad you've joined us. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Schools in Alberta cope with COVID in the classroom.
E.J. Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Virginia College sends students home due to virus spread on campus.
Then Jennifer Pointan in Nyack reports about New York Governor Cuomo launching the COVID-19 report card. Then Claudine Cadet in Kissimmee tells us about Florida theme park prices dropping to encourage attendance amid the pandemic. Then Frendel Faharin in Seattle updates us about the unprecedented wildfires striking Washington state, prompting residents to stay indoors. Then we'll hear from Julian Fiesta in Delano, California.
Project Groom's Super Bloom wins the LA Lights the Way competition.
Plus, learn how to create a mirror wall decor with EBC friend Nanita Manawis in Dallas, Texas. And then tonight we will bake some Oreo truffles with junior chef Eliana Sakules in West Hills, California. But first, an overview of how COVID-19 looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, September 8, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 27,400,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases are the U.S. at 6.3 million, India at 4.2, and Brazil at 4.1 million. Sadly, this virus has already taken more than 894,000 lives. The top three countries with the most COVID-19 related deaths are, again, the U.S. with 189,000, Brazil with more than 126,000, and India with more than 72,000. Our coverage begins now. Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard announces that Mexico will sign on to the COVAX program, a global initiative set up by the World Health Organization designed to guarantee all countries rapid, fair, and equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines. Let's take a look.
México ha confirmado con fecha 31 de agosto con una carta carta de intención de participar en el mecanismo COVAX Facility. Esto significa la expresión del interés de nuestro país por adquirir dosis necesarias para vacunar a la población nacional. Se eligió por parte del sector salud la modalidad de compra opcional que otorga mayor flexibilidad.
In related news, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden tells a crowd of supporters in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, if he could get a vaccine tomorrow, he'd do it. If it cost him the election, he'd do it. Biden says we need a vaccine and we need it now. Biden also expressed concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's undermining of, quote, public confidence, which he believes could lead to people being skeptical of taking an effective vaccine when one is ready. Let's take a look.
One of the problems is the way he's playing with politics is he said so many things that aren't true. I'm worried if we do have a really good vaccine, people are going to be reluctant to take it. And so he's undermining public confidence. But pray God we have it. If I could get a vaccine tomorrow, I'd do it. If it cost me the election, I'd do it. We need a vaccine, and we need it now, as quick as we can get it. But we have to listen to the scientists.
Meanwhile, speaking to reporters ahead of his tour of 5 swing states, starting with Florida and North Carolina, U.S. President Donald Trump says he will personally fund his own 2020 re-election campaign if needed. Let's take a look.
Yeah, if I have to, I would, but we're doing very well. We needed to spend more money up front because of the pandemic and the statements being made by Democrats, which were, again, disinformation and triple. But if we need it anymore, I'd put it up personally, like I did in the primaries last time. In the 2016 primaries, I put up a lot of money. If I have to, I'll do it here. But we don't have to because we have double and maybe even triple what we had a number of years ago, 4 years ago. Whatever it takes, we have to win. This is the most important election in the history of our country.
Schools in Alberta grapple with COVID-19 in the classrooms. In Edmonton, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness joins us this evening. Thomas?
Good evening, Philip. Well, there's another visitor in Alberta classrooms this fall, and it's not there to learn. It's our nemesis, COVID-19. In the last few days since schools reopened last week, cases of COVID-19 have been reported at 11 schools in the province. Now, this is not unexpected. It's unrealistic to expect that schools would be risk-free. Where the infection has been discovered, health authorities have zoomed in, done the contact tracing. Those that were in contact with the infected individuals, well, they've been told to self-isolate. Actually, one of the schools is the high school I graduated from more than 5 decades ago. Almost 100 students have been told to stay home and self-isolate for 14 days. On the positive side, think about this. 11 schools had cases of COVID-19 in the province. There are almost 2,400 schools operating, so not really too bad at all. Now, the province's top doctor, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, says none of those 11 cases acquired the infection at school.
The cases in school appear to be from community transmission. They are not linked to transmission within the schools. This is another reminder that one of the best ways to keep schools safe is to bring down our community transmission rates. Another pattern we are seeing is that those who have mild symptoms of sore throat, runny nose, or nasal congestion are not consistently staying home when those symptoms start. I know that it is inconvenient and possibly irritating to stay home with a mild illness, but it is absolutely critical that we support each other to do this. What is a mild, short-lived illness for one person can be a life-threatening risk for others, with long-lasting health consequences.
Now, Hinshaw adds that schools do all they can to keep the learning environment safe, but she says students have a responsibility to govern their behavior.
I have also been told that many students, especially older students, have been congregating after school, sharing drinks and in close contact with each other without masks. Even if schools operate perfectly, there is a responsibility for parents and students to make sure that the same precautions are followed outside of the school.
Now, we're coming up on 7 months since the pandemic began. Summer is almost over in my part of the world, and as we augur our way through the months to year end, people are going to be spending less time outside. It's getting colder. That means more socializing indoors, and we've been given this advice from health officials. Anyone thinking of attending an event or gathering should assess their own personal risk. As well, they should consider the risk to those in their household, their personal bubble. They should consider the location of the event and ask the host if any changes have been made to the gathering to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19. As we move forward through the pandemic, I wish you all good health. Take care of others, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Thomas. I'm just curious, you mentioned that in your report about how students, they need to take care of their own behavior, right? The schools can do everything they can, but it's up to students to follow the right steps to mitigate the risks of the virus. But 5 decades ago, when you were in high school, do you think that you could have taken the same steps that we're asking students to take today?
Think back yourself, Philip, to when you were the high school age. Did you ever follow all of the rules? Weren't we all a little bit rebellious? And didn't we all think we would live forever? We were invincible. So I'm not so sure whether that... Mind you, I was a bit of a nerd who hung around the library, so maybe I was less dangerous that way.
That's a good point. Read more books, and that'll help keep you out of coronavirus trouble, right?
As long as nobody infected was handling the book before you.
Right, no, absolutely. Now, you also mentioned that it's starting to get colder there in your part of the world, which, frankly, it was, 85 degrees here in Atlanta today, so I'm a little bit jealous. But do you have any plans over the next couple of months for any types of family gatherings or socializing that you mentioned? And if so, what steps are you going to take to help protect everybody?
Any socializing we do, we'll do it virtually. We're pretty cautious about where we go. I'm at the age where I'm in the high risk age group and high risk health. So no, we're not going to go too many places. It'll be mostly virtual, and most of my family it's the same way. My wife's family, well, we visit with them virtually all the time anyway because they're scattered over several different countries.
Absolutely. Well, that's very important. It's better to be safe than sorry. We've already made it this far. Let's continue to...
I want to see the end of this pandemic. I really do. I remember one doctor, an infectious disease doctor in Toronto, who said, and this was his quote, was, "The pandemic is only over for those who didn't survive." But I really do want to see the end of this.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that we'll get there soon, Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Philip.
Now, when we come back, we'll have updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Alexandria, Virginia, Nyack, New York, and Kissimmee, Florida. This is Eagle News America. Please stay with us.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Macapagal, Bachelor's of Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Jofran David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read US cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosa P, a Bachelor of Science and Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University. To legit, to grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. James Madison University in Virginia sends home students after a rise in on-campus COVID-19 infection. In Alexandria, EJ Gonzalez has the report. EJ?
Thanks, Philip. For the most part of Virginia, many students have started school in the past 2 weeks. Many are doing virtual learning to start off this school year, but there were a good number of colleges and universities that opened their campus gates to allow their students to return. Now, officials are thinking it may not have been such a good idea, as there have been reports of an increase in positive cases amongst students. James Madison University started their school year deciding to provide a mix of in-person, hybrid, and online classes for students. Jonathan Alger, president of James Madison University, said that the decision to open campus safely took many months of planning in order to keep students, faculty, and staff safe under the guidelines of the CDC. They even prepared isolation and quarantine spaces on campus prior to the beginning of the school year. However, with the quick rise of positive cases within campus, JMU quickly transitioned to online classes for students. James Madison University will be sending students who live on campus back home in order to prevent the spread on campus. As for those students who have tested positive for COVID-19 and those who have been in close contact with them, they will be completing their quarantine and isolation on campus for 14 days in order to prevent the spread to other communities. There are situations where a student will be allowed to stay on campus, however, which include but are not limited to having a vulnerable family member at home, transportation issues, inadequate access to internet at home, or lack of food or housing outside of JMU. Those students who do not live on campus and have private leases near the school have the choice to return home or not. However, JMU has mentioned that they will not be mass testing the students who are departing now, as it will hinder the university's health center's ability to test symptomatic people who are more likely to have COVID-19 and need to be identified. They will be working with individuals who have already tested positive, contact trace individuals they have come into contact with, and others who are indeed showing symptoms. For those students who have already paid for their housing and meal plans, a prorated refund will be issued to them. And students who also receive a full refund of their parking permit fee, if they return their permit to parking services or mail it in with a postmarked date of no later than Friday, September 11, they'll receive that refund. Students who are leaving have received instructions not to return to campus till at the earliest October 5th. Of course, this is all dependent on decisions made after monitoring these issues within the upcoming weeks. However, Governor Ralph Northam took the time to acknowledge the efforts of Virginians and educational establishments to ensure that students are given the opportunity to stay safe and continue learning during these difficult times. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, EJ. Now, how do you feel about the decision of educational institutions there to do in-person learning?
You know, honestly, it's a tough decision because, again, we've been in this pandemic for almost half a year now. There's a benefit of having, you know, that person-to-person interaction for educational settings, especially in the younger age. I have been speaking to a lot of parents and teachers who are expressing that it's difficult to have online learning, and there are some things you just can't replicate. You can't replicate those things online. Of course, it's difficult to also keep the attention of like younger students. Some of the parents are telling me that kids are getting in trouble for chatting, as in like chatting through typing to other students, you know, during the class lesson. You know, that's something that teachers previously didn't have to worry about before. So I definitely understand the want of having in-person settings, but I think this story alone and, you know, Tom's story earlier, I mean, it proves that it's just too early to do that. It's tough to imagine what these students are going through, especially those who tested positive. But, you know, we're hopeful that the students who did test positive can recover quickly, and that all the students and the citizens do their part in help stopping the spread of the virus.
Absolutely, and I know that that's a tough decision that school officials and parents are making across the country when it comes to in-person learning. A lot of our activities, you know, we're having to do virtual. You know, one that just comes to mind is sporting events, and I know that you know, you may have had some appearances on our sports programs, but you know, for those that, you know, maybe aren't familiar, can you talk a little bit about what maybe the local sports teams there are doing, you know, to play, but then also mitigate the pandemic?
Yeah, here local sports, you know, none of us made the playoffs in the NBA, so they're not participating in those. But, you know, I mean, I think, you know, if you look at all of the sports establishments and organizations, I think the NBA really has a good hold and grasp of what they're doing to prevent the spread of virus. Many times they test their players consistently, and they're returning 0 positive cases, which is great news. They even opened the doors to allow their families and friends, a couple, just a limited amount of friends and family to start watching the games live. And I'm sure that's a great help for a lot of the athletes, because a lot of them were experiencing some depression and mental toughness issues, and I'm sure having their families there is a great help for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that update, and then the extra special update on sports there. We'll see you next time on the broadcast. Thanks, EJ.
Thank you, Philip.
Now we'll turn our attention to the state of New York, where in leading the state's continuing fight against the coronavirus, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo launches the COVID-19 report card. In Nyack, Jennifer Polintan reports.
Governor Andrew M. Cuomo today announced the launch of the COVID-19 report card, an online dashboard which tracks real-time COVID-19 infections and testing operations of every New York school and school district. The governor acted by executive order, directing schools, local health departments, labs, and all testing sites to properly collect and report COVID-19 testing data for students and staff at each school in New York State. As schools reopen, the districts, local health departments, and labs begin reporting this data to the New York State Department of Health. The COVID-19 report card will be live at https://schoolcovidreportcard.health.ny.gov. Governor Andrew Cuomo said, "Facts empower people to make informed decisions for the health and safety of themselves and their families." The report card will provide parents, teachers, students, and all New Yorkers with comprehensive data updated on a daily basis, including positive infections by date of students and staff, by school and school district, whether the school or the district and the students and staff are remote, in-person, or hybrid, the number of students and staff on site, percentage of on-site students and staff who tested positive, the number of tests administered by the school, the test type, lab used, and lag time, the date of last submission or update. Visitors to the website can simply type in their home address to identify their school district, select their specific school, and find all reported positives, a breakdown of testing and results for students and teachers, and the current enrollment. The dashboard will feature 7-day trend charts so visitors can track results over time. In Nyack, New York, Jennifer Polintan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Thank you so much for that report, Jennifer. And it's going to be interesting to see over time what other establishments will start to do a similar process of a report card. Because if you think about it, we're used to, from a restaurant perspective, getting a health grade and having those posted, and now schools are starting to do something similar. We'll just have to see how this progresses as we go through the pandemic. Now we're going to turn our attention to Florida, where one of the main draws is theme parks. And in fact, theme park prices are beginning to drop. That's to encourage attendance amid the scare of virus spread in public cases. In Kissimmee, Eagle News correspondent Claudine Cadet has the story.
Summer may be over, but lucky for me, every day is summer in Florida. Beaches and attractions are opened with limited capacity, and since reopening, we're seeing a surge of tourists and locals soaking up what's left of the sun before heading back to school and a new normal. While most of the state has seen an influx of tourism compared to numbers during lockdown, it's not completely back to normal for everyone. SeaWorld, Universal, and Walt Disney World are among the biggest theme park giants in the Orlando area. They've taken another hit beyond temporary closure in the midst of the pandemic. Attendance overall has been low with COVID regulations and with cancellations in anticipation of COVID regulations. But theme parks are prepared to respond to low numbers with a rarely seen strategy. The Disney company has reported an 85% decrease in revenue from its parks, experiences, and products since last year. Even with the expansion of its streaming service, there has been a significant mixed revenue report across Disney's products and services. As for their parks, hours have been reduced to late mornings and early evening closure times without their signature nighttime activities. With reduced attendance and park hours, layoffs are expected. And recently, Universal Orlando has reported higher attendance numbers than Walt Disney World. Since reopening, numbers are at an all-time high due to a mixed effort from opening the park this past June and slashed ticket prices. However, another competitor is looking to turn things around this fall after the popular theme park season. SeaWorld encourages park attendance with their reduced fun card discounts. For the rest of 2020 and all of 2021, SeaWorld is offering their parks and limited capacity events with fun card access for only $110. Regulations in all of the aforementioned parks are also still in place to save your life, and with slashed ticket prices saving your wallet too. In Kissimmee, Florida, I'm Claudine Kadai, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Claudine, for that report. And for those out there who maybe avoid theme parks because of the long lines, maybe it's time to evaluate if now's the time to go. Now, when we come back, we'll have updates from our correspondents in Seattle, Washington, and Delano, California. We will return in just a moment. This is Eagle News.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten, sie wertschätzen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Philip Toledo in Atlanta. Just as when outdoor activities are the way to go these days, residents in Washington state are prompted to stay indoors due to unprecedented wildfires striking the region. In Seattle, Bureau Chief Frendel Fajaran has the details.
Thank you, Philip. Just yesterday, wildfires emerged in eastern Washington, leaving 80% of a small town destroyed. The unprecedented growth of the fires reached western Washington in less than 24 hours and have damaged 8 homes in the city of Graham. There being no sign of lightning strikes, conclude that the fire was human-made. It could have been from campfires, target shooting, a car parked on dry grass, spark from a chainsaw. The root cause is still unknown. More than 300,000 acres of land caught fire, which is more than the acreage from the entire year of 2019 here in our state. Thankfully, at this point in time, there are no reports on fatalities nor injuries. However, there are thousands who have been evacuated, and many don't and won't have a house to return to. Our hearts go out to everyone and all the families affected by this. If you would like to lend a helping hand to those in need, please reach out to your local Red Cross. Now, prior to the fires, air quality was good, fresh and pristine. The weather has been incredibly inviting and the sky has been clear. In reference to the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency's press release, because these unprecedented wildfires have stricken the state, air pollution has increased tremendously. Air quality has swiftly lost its freshness. Due to irregular winds, some areas' air quality may range between good and unhealthy. Today, it is expected that the quality of air reach unhealthy across the Puget Sound region and may continue until tomorrow and beyond. Residents and visitors are being urged to stay indoors and do our part. Staying indoors would keep us as safe as possible from the wildfire smoke, as it can cause and worsen many health problems such as asthma attack, chest pain, coughing, fast heartbeat, headaches, irritated sinus, stinging eyes, trouble breathing. Some tips on what we could do to do our part are limit outdoor activity. Close windows in our home. If you have an air conditioner, the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency suggests to use it in recirculation mode. Since heat can be dangerous as well, they are advising that should heat become unbearable, to open the window for a short period of time. When outdoors, wear a face covering. N95 and N100 would be most effective to air pollution. But since they're to be reserved for our COVID-19 frontliners, some form of mask would be better than none. Let's be safe, stay indoors, and heed any guidance from state official. Seattle, Washington, Friends Alpha Heron, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks so much, Frendel, for that update and that report. That's great information that we know came from the Governor Inslee's press conference, who's the governor there of Washington State. So we definitely appreciate that. Now, a little bright news to lighten our load. Project Room's Super Bloom streetlight design is this year's winner of LA Lights the Way competition. In Delano, we have Julian Fiesta with the delightful details.
Thank you, Philip. Los Angeles declares Project Room as the winner of the LA Lights the Way competition with their Super Bloom streetlight design. Launched by the Mayor's Office and the Bureau of Street Lighting, or BSL for short, last November, the LA Lights the Way design competition opened to the public, including professionals and students, locally and internationally, to design a new streetlight for the city of Los Angeles. The winning design entry would be the new standard streetlight for the future of the city, to light the boulevards, roads, sidewalks, and landscapes throughout Los Angeles. This new design would capture the essence of the renowned city, including its residents, culture, and landmarks. It has been about 50 years since the standard streetlight design has been updated. Mayor Eric Garcetti stated, quote, Los Angeles is a place where the world comes to inspire and innovate, where we infuse everything with our trademark creativity, and where we always seek to invent new ways for government to be a force for good in people's lives. Project Room's design illuminates a future that does more than brighten public spaces. It brings smarter design to our neighborhoods, helps us combat climate change, and promotes equity across our city. According to the Los Angeles mayor, more than 100 entry submissions were received for this competition from design teams worldwide, which were reviewed by a panel of 6 judges who are proficient in design, lighting, and public infrastructure. It was a design studio of collaborative artists based right here in the city of Los Angeles called Project Room that won. Its winning streetlight design reinvents the traditional lamp as a super bloom or bundle of tubes made of steel or aluminum, with each one dedicated to a function, and leaves room for extra features including 5G equipment and shade fixtures. Sandy Young, co-founder of Project Room, said, quote, LA Lights the Way challenged us to create a new streetlight for Los Angeles that would connect to our city's design, history, and culture, incorporate new technology, and still reflect LA's diversity. We are delighted that the city of LA took this historic opportunity to reimagine its core systems as a symbol of this diversity, rather than an expression of ordered uniformity. In this way, it can truly become an icon of the city of Los Angeles. At a time of great cultural and civic transformation, the streetlight is an ever-changeable monument to an ever-changing city. In Delano, California, Julian Fiesta, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thank you so much for that report. Now, what else will Project Room receive in addition to the prestige of having their design as the prototype for the new standard streetlights of LA?
Actually, Philip, just the achievement of having the winning design out of the more than 100 submission entries received, plus have your design be the model for future city streetlights, are more than ample prizes. But yes, there is more, as the winner will also receive a prize money of $70,000, which would greatly assist their design studio or their business operations.
Absolutely, that sounds like it would be a great help. Now, will this winning streetlight design, will that create new streetlights, or are they going to replace the ones that are currently standing? And if so, how are they, is it going to happen all at once, or how are they going to go forward?
So the plan of the city is to replace about 180,000 of the standard streetlights currently standing and lighting roadways throughout Los Angeles, but to not touch any of the historic streetlights as they're part of the city's landmarks. This project will be accomplished in collaboration with the Los Angeles Bureau of Street Lighting, with plans to replace and install about 1,000 to 2,000 streetlights per year. It will take many years to replace approximately 180,000 streetlights, but the city hopes to at least have many of its areas looking presentable in preparation for the 2028 Olympics, which is scheduled to take place here in Los Angeles.
All right, thank you so much, Julianne, for that enlightening report. We'll catch up with you here in a few minutes here at the end of our broadcast. Now, we're going to learn when we come back how to make our own mirror wall and Oreo truffles. So make sure you stay tuned. Eagle News America will return shortly.
Do you want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the University President, and Professor Anita P. Santos, Director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Christina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@meu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@meu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. Now, most of us have that corner in our homes left unnoticed or just there to store clutter. Now, we know we want to make it nicer and create a pleasing space out of it, but if you're like me, you just don't know how to start. Tonight, EBC friend Nanita Manawis in Dallas, Texas, shows us one way to do just that, by first spicing up that wall. Let's take a look.
Creating your own home decor is not just fun but also cost-effective. And today, we're going to show you how to DIY this mirror wall decor. For this DIY, here are the materials that we will need. First step is to separate the mirrors from the frames. Applying the primer is an optional step, but we did that in this project because we have black and silver mirror frames. Next, firmly glue the frames together. And then glue the giant craft sticks in between the frames. Next step is to paint the frame. Applying a top coat such as wax after painting is an optional step. Now stick on the hanging strips on the frame and then place the mirrors back into the frame. Now it's time to fix the mirror frame, pressing it firmly to the wall. So there you have it. Just by using inexpensive materials, we were able to create this mirror wall decor, which you can use anywhere in your house and can be combined with your favorite home decors. In Dallas, Texas, I'm Anita Manawis, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Nanita, for that. It's very interesting to see we're spending more time at home, and that's creating more DIY projects, whether they be functional or something artistic like that, to help spruce up the home decor. In fact, we had a little bit of time, so I wanted to just show off something that my wife made while we were on quarantine here. I don't know if you could see it on the picture there, but basically she gave it to me for Father's Day. She painted this picture of dinosaurs based upon the movie The Good Dinosaur, because we watch a lot of dinosaur things in our family with the 2-year-old that we have at home. But the cool thing about it is, if you've ever seen the movie, there's a little switch on the back. When I click it, well, you may not be able to see it on the camera, but there's little lights that light up all over the side of this painting. So my wife would say that she doesn't have a lot of artistic ability, but this pandemic sure brings out the hidden talents we didn't know that we had. We know that can take a lot of work, and so after that work, we all deserve a little treat. So as promised, joining our program this evening is EBC friend and junior chef Eliana Sakules in West Hills, California. She'll show us how to make this only 3 ingredients, Oreo truffle treat. And with her is Eagle News correspondent Alan Basayahe. Let's enjoy.
Good day, Eagle News viewers and foodies around the world. Today we're back at Eliana's kitchen, where this time she'll be preparing
3-ingredient Oreo truffles.
Sounds sweet. Let's get started.
First, I have some crushed up Oreos here, and I'll be mixing in cream cheese, a whole brick of cream cheese, and that's going to be the starting of our truffles. Just open this up. Make sure it's softened cream cheese so it's easier to mix and everything. Just put that in. Then with a spatula, start to fold in the cream cheese with the Oreo crumbs. You want to fold it in till it's nice and smooth and it's a thick texture. It's fine if you spill. You can always clean it up.
Could I just eat this by itself, or would that be bad?
I mean, you could, but I don't think it's good for you. Okay, now that it's all folded in, I'm going to put on some gloves because we're going to make the truffle shape. Take any cookie scoop or ice cream scoop, scoop a little, take it out, and roll it into a ball. It's fine if you have stuff there. Also, now take a pan with some parchment paper and place your Oreo truffles on there.
And the first time you tried it, you created it, were you satisfied, or did you say you could do better?
I thought it was actually pretty good because I never knew that you can only make like some actually decent truffles with just 3 ingredients. You can make them any size you want, and after this, we're gonna freeze it and make sure to freeze it till they're nice and hard.
Which is your personal favorite to eat? The appetizer, the main course, or the dessert?
The dessert.
Okay, that was a pretty quick answer.
I got a sweet tooth.
So what are we doing now, Eliana?
I'm gonna boil some water because I'm gonna double boil some chocolate.
That's a good technique.
Yeah. First, I'm gonna melt the chocolate. So I have milk chocolate here and white chocolate.
So with color, Oreo truffles. How long have they been in the freezer?
Actually, I put them in the fridge. Well, you gotta put it in the freezer for faster process, but I put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. I'm gonna add the chocolate in. I'm gonna put a little, not too much oil, because it's gonna be, you're gonna taste it. And I won't turn it off yet when it's done, because I still need to melt the white chocolate. Next bowl, I'm gonna add the white chocolate. There we go. Now we're starting to melt the white chocolate. We're just gonna keep mixing this till it's nice and smooth, and I'll melt it up. I'm gonna coat these. So I'm gonna just take a little ball. I'm gonna just roll them around. I'm also gonna use a spoon because I want it to get really coated in. Oh, can't pick it up with chopsticks. I guess I'm just gonna need to use a spoon. And I just dropped it on the table. Then just let it drip off a little.
Straight to my mouth.
And onto the piece of parchment paper.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna add a little bit of Oreo crumbs that was left on here.
Oh, how smart.
Because I want nice presentation. Now we're gonna do a white chocolate one. Just coat this in the white chocolate. Again, when I took this out of the fridge, it was nice and hard, but when I left it out here, it kind of got a little soft. Okay, now that that one's coated, it's gonna be a little see-through, but that's okay. Just pick it up, come on, come on. Okay.
The struggle is real.
Yes. I'll coat it with a little chocolate. Oh, got a little stripe.
Nice design.
Gonna coat it with a little bit of chocolate on the side so the whole thing's covered. And make a nice wavy design. Well, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to. Oh, there. Beautiful. Now I'm just gonna do the rest.
Eliana continues to decorate each truffle carefully one by one. Afterwards, they'll take a quick time out in the fridge to chill out before moving on to the final plating. All right, Eagle News viewers, no more delays. We're going to go ahead and dive into the 3-course meal prepared in Eliana's kitchen. We're going to start off first with the potato poppers. Here we go. What can I say? This is the appetizer, but if I had a whole tray of it, I could just make it a meal all by itself. Thank you. I'm going to dive in now to the penne pasta, right, with seafood. Okay, with a little bit of shrimp. That was as decadent as you could imagine it. Shrimp, sausage, crab meat, penne pasta, delicious, and I can really taste the butter. Now on to the dessert. I chose the milk chocolate for this tasting. The Oreo truffles. It just came out of the fridge, huh? I'm telling you, a glass of cold milk with this would be perfect. So rich, very sweet. It's kind of a little bit hard on the outside, but it's gooey on the inside. really something that you would pay top dollar for at any restaurant. But with the pandemic changing the way we dine out, having a member of the family who likes to cook comes with some definite perks.
We are very proud that Eliana has taken such a liking to cooking.
And what does it feel like whenever she says, Dad, I have the notion to cook lunch or cook dinner for the family today?
It's a real treat to have a buffet like this waiting for me at home when I come home from work. So I can't wait to dig in.
And I can certainly attest this is a treat. It's a treat because we have delicious food. Thank you very much, Eliana. We have beautiful scenery, wonderful weather, but most of all, we're in good company with some dear friends. We hope you enjoyed your time here at Eliana's Kitchen and that you'll join us again next time. But for now, in West Hills, California, Alan Basoyahe, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Alan and Eliana. Now, for all of our viewers out there, if you're like me and your stomach is growling right now, make sure that you check out our past episodes either on the Eagle News YouTube page or Facebook, because the other recipes that we saw there at the end are also going to be located there, so that way you can join Junior Chef. Or actually, I don't know that I'd call Eliana a Junior Chef. I think I'll just go ahead and call her a chef because all of that looked very good. Thank you again so much for that. Now, before we go tonight, we have this most important part of our broadcast is where we thank all of our healthcare workers, our first responders, and other essential workers with a round of applause because you do so much for all of us, and we truly appreciate all that you do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's Eagle News America. Wherever you are, please stay safe and stay well. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philip Toledo. We live in interesting times.